Alright, Vi here, and I'm talking about my guitars, and this one, I'm only talking about a few of them, but this one is one of the special ones. This was a guitar that I had gotten back in the 90s from Ibanez. It was a Universe, and I wanted to do something different to it. And there's a big mystery involved with who actually ended up doing the blowtorching, because that's what it was. It was a swirl guitar that was just a blowtorch and then a steel wire. I think I remember doing it, but I can't be for sure. I was in Tahoe. And the guitar has a great sound too. So whenever I go to reach for a 7-string when I'm in the studio, this is one of the ones I grab. The other one that I like is the second 7-string that was ever made. But this is great to take on tour, and I used to play Weeping China Doll on this one. And the name of this guitar is affectionately known as BRUNO. Okay, this is a gem, and this is Evo. And Evo is probably my main guitar. It's the guitar that I put many notes on. And I don't know what it is about this guitar, but you give your instruments a personality. And this one has the most colorful personality for me. I don't know, you know, it's the way it feels. Just the way it kind of feels in my hands, and the way it sounds. It's got this nice little mini mid-range bump. You can't really hear it, but I just feel more comfortable on this guitar than any other guitar. And I got it, I can't remember the year, but it was the first white gem. It was early 90s, around mid-90s maybe. And look how beat up it is. It gets a beating, but she always delivers. Okay, this is FLOIII, and FLOIII came in the same time Evo did. As a matter of fact, I received 5 guitars, and I was checking pickups, and all of the guitars had different pickups in them, but they were exactly the same guitar. So I had to name them so I didn't get them mixed up because they looked identical. So I named them after Harley Davidson engines. That's right, because I was a big Harley fan. One of them was a flathead that was FLOIII. One of them was a Evolution engine that became Evo. There was a flathead and all these kinds of things. But this was the one that, another one that I gravitated to, and I put a sustainer in it. And this was the backup for Evo. But then this came along. FLOIII. This, for me, is the guitar. More so than Evo. I've played this more, maybe than any other guitar. I know absolutely for the last 20 years, or 15 years or so. And it's another one of those things, I don't know why. It's just, it has all of these comfort zones. When I have to do like a quick project or something, this is what I go for every time, you know? And there's just something about the way the neck resonates with the body. I mean, it's so easy to hear when you're on a stage and you've got the big amps and you've got the band and everybody's playing. You can just hear the guitars. You can't really hear it here, but it just is a happy place for me. It's like comfort, you know? So this, I never go anywhere without this puppy. So I like Stratocasters, always did, but I don't play them very well. They're kind of built differently, and the gem guitars have always been, they're built around my playing, so they're the easiest for me to play. But on the new record INVIOLATE, there's a song called Candle Power that I wanted to use a clean sound, and I wanted to use my fingers and no whammy bar and all sorts of kind of crazy things. And this is the guitar I used in the video. This is custom made by Hoshino for me from Ibanez. It's sort of like a Strat gem, kind of a weird, it's a gem basically, but it has some Stratocaster characteristics, pickups, tailpiece, things like that. And we went through great lengths to find the right pickups because I really like that authentic single coil sound. So no twangability around here. And that's what I use for this guitar. Okay, this is an Ibanez PIA. You can tell by the teardrop, yin and yang sign. And basically it's a gem with modifications, some little change in the body shape a little bit, new handle. The rest of it's pretty similar, but this is our new model. And when the PIA first came out, it came out in 4 colors. White was one of them, and then the pink, the green, and the yellow, gold actually. And we always try to keep it real, keep it new, keep it fresh, so we come up with different models. But this was the very first Onyx PIA, black PIA that was made. At the time that I got this guitar, I was recovering from shoulder surgery, so I was wearing a sling that's called a knapsack. So I had to hold the guitar like this and play like that with one hand. But this is the first, and I used it a lot on INVIOLATE. Knapsack, I used it on Zeus and Change, Sandman Cloud Mist. It's a great guitar, and I had another one made exactly like it that is going to be taken on the road. A little different because it has sustainer, some of the things that I like. But it's such a beautiful guitar. Come on, come on. It is beautiful. Lay down. Okay, this is my green PIA. This was the second one ever made. And you know, when you get guitars, I'm very fortunate because I work with a great company that we have to build all these guitars, so I get them to listen to and to try out. And so my hands get to touch a lot of instruments. And when I choose a guitar to sort of use the majority of the time, like on tour, it requires, the guitar has to have a couple of elements to it. One of them is, it just has to feel a certain way when I play it. The neck, the frets, you know. So that's an attraction for me, but perhaps the main attraction, well, that would be the main attraction, but then it has to sound in the ballpark of what I'm looking for, you know. And usually they do, the PIAs do. But when I picked up this one and was going through them, there's so many little things that can go into the variation of what a guitar sounds like, such as the part of the tree that the wood is taken from, you know, these kinds of very nuanced things. And I don't claim to be able to hear these things, but I have an overall sense of a sound when I'm playing a guitar. And whatever the reason is, I don't know, but I know that it sounds right to me, and this is one of them, where I just went through a bunch and it's like, okay, it pulls you back. And I'll probably be taking this on tour and using it as the drop C tune guitar for things like Avalanche and Bad Horsey. And this is what I did Avalanche. This is my first real guitar. I got this when I was maybe 16 from Matthews Music. My mom gave me some of the money. And this is the guitar I used as a teenager in the bands I was in, and also through my Berkeley years, and also through Zappa and Alcatraz. When I got to Alcatraz, I started to experiment with other guitars. But this was my first real guitar, and it's been through so much abuse. You know? Maybe perhaps I played more notes on this guitar when I was young than any other guitar. And one of the great things about this guitar was it became an experiment. This was when I first started to actually manipulate electronics, because I saw Frank Zappa doing it. You know, he would take his guitars and he'd put all these parametric EQs. He did things to guitars that most people would just never do. But because that's all I knew, I figured I can do it too, right? So I still have the Alembic preamp in there that I put in there when I was young, and various phase switches and stuff. This guitar, if you check the Young Guitar records, you'll notice that I spoke about this guitar way in the beginning of my career and showed it, because it's been with me that long. It's impossible to play. I mean, you know, after playing Gems for so many years, I could play it, but it's difficult. It's not set up to react to the way that I play so much. But it's good for certain things. But it was also an opportunity. It was the first time I changed a pickup. I put this, like, I think this is an X2N. It was a DiMarzio replacement pickup. It was so cool to take pickups out and change them around. It's a beastly pickup. It's the loudest, most distorted pickup I own, and it's in this little Strat. But this is it. This is a very special guitar for me. It's a Joe Satriani model, okay? And I always kind of liked Joe's guitars, the way that he had them set up, you know, the radius of the necks, very, very different than my guitars. But his always sounded good and felt good. And I always wanted to get one. And one day, last year, or 2 years ago, this came in the mail from Joe. It was one of his guitars. And he had taken this guitar on tour and played it, I can't remember the name of the tour, but he put miles on this thing. Then he took it home and he scraped it up and torched it. And then he did some art on the back and gave it to me for my birthday. And this is why it's so special to me. And I've used it, you know, in little things here and there. But I feel really fortunate that you know, I've had that kind of friendship and mentorship with such an outstanding musician, but even more so just an incredible person, you know. So this is a family heirloom at this point. And this is a Gretsch, oddly enough. It's it's anniversary special. And because I love the guitar so much, I like to have, there's certain guitars that I've always romanced in my mind, you know, and like a Gibson Firebird, always loved those, got one. ES335, got one of those. Jaguar, got one. I got probably one of all of the guitars that I found attractive, and I've always liked these Gretsch. And I decided to get a good one, and this is a good one. The only problem is that I don't play them, you know, I don't play my style very well on them. But they have a sound. They have a particular sound that no other arch top really has. The wiring is pickled, you know, it's weird. But whatever it is, they have a particular sound. And I had this riff. And I love the way it sounded, and that's all I had, but I knew there was a song in there. So I found the riff, and it told me it needed the Gretsch. I don't know why. You know, well, I do know why. Because of the song, of the riff, you know. These chords, they won't come out on a jam going through my rig. I mean, they'll come out, but they won't. Solid bodies just sound different, you know. And this song called for this, so I thought this is a good opportunity to pull out this Gretsch, because it was hanging on the wall for years, and I was admiring it, but I never really played it. And when I started to play it, I couldn't. It sucked. You know, I just couldn't, it wasn't set up, it was a mess. So I sent it to a great luthier who completely overhauled it for me, and it became very playable. And I recorded the song Little Pretty with it. That's my Gretsch. Okay, this is one of my acoustics. And it's a 7-string acoustic, and it was something that Ibanez made for me because when I, during the lockdown, had some time and I started to record a solo acoustic vocal record. I had to stop doing that because of other reasons, but it's almost done and I'll release it someday. But I have quite a nice array of various acoustic guitars I was using, but I always wanted a 7-string acoustic because I'd never seen one. I'm sure they're out there, but I wanted one. And I wanted to use it on that record. And I've also used it on INVIOLATE. It's on Apollo in Color and a couple other things, but it's just, you know, it's got these nice low string that you can tune in all different ways. But this they made for me, and they're actually working on another one. So hopefully, if it turns out really great, we'll see what happens. But this is a unique guitar, and I love using it on acoustic songs.